Hello, hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face and my card making space. I want to get this intro filmed ASAP. We're in the middle of a potential thunderstorm. I think it might be moving on, but yeah, the power flickered a couple times and I was like, need to get this done. I got other work to do. So anywho, a couple of technically simple cards. I used this CZ Design layering birthday stencil set that Simon released this past month. And yeah, I did some little AmyR chemistry with a couple of my glitter pastes. I'll get into that in the video. And a lot of really finicky fiddling with some metallic thread. So technically simple, and then I just had fun with it. So keep watching and I will show you guys how I made these cards. I decided to make 2 cards with this stencil set because that enabled me to basically make a rainbow of colors with less effort, really, because I was like, how am I going to combine like all the colors, because there's 4 layering stencils. So I would have had to like add, blend colors together, etc., which totally doable. But I decided, I was like, ooh, I'll do one in warm tones, so pinks, yellow, oranges, and the other one in cool tones. Why not? It'll be fun. So I started with my little mini stencil mat here from Waffle Flower, and I have like just some 6x6 inch cardstock, and discovered right off the bat, because I wasn't paying attention, that the center of that A has only one connection point, which happens a lot with different stencils depending on whether, like, obviously with letters like this or certain details, etc. You'll have stencils where they have, I like to call them almost like little pokey bits, just a piece that is only got one connection point. So if you're not careful, it can get caught, on your blending brushes, etc., or it can wiggle and move. And for one specifically like this, what I found was easiest is, one, flip the cardstock over, because cardstock's got 2 sides. I restarted. And what I did with those, because there's more than one A on these stencils, and I would blend from the bottom up instead of the circular motion that I normally do. When there are directional things or little parts with one little connection point, I will blend in the direction of it so that it's not catching on my brush, etc. This also, like, I was already part the way done this, and I was like, my paper pouncers would have made this so much easier. I say that, but this was all simple. However, I wanted the blend. I was keeping all the like color kind of concentrated a little more to like the bottom portions of the letters, and then lightening my pressure towards the top just to give it that little extra something. Because again, when you're doing things a little more simple, it's fun to sort of add just little extras that really don't require much time or effort, but it just adds to it, So I went along and I did the first set, and I'll link to the specific colors. These are all Simon Says Stamp, like Pawsitively saturated inks. But for the warm colors, it was Carnation, Cheeky, Peachy, and Lemonade. And then for this set, it was Sprout, Seafoam, Marine, and Lilac. And after I did the first one with the warm colors, I just wiped off the stencils quick and easy. And again, when wiping them off, always pay attention to those little detail points. So wiped them off, stenciled the second set, cleaned my stencils off, or my one stencil off again. I'll clean the rest off later. I just cleaned off like the first one. So glitter paste, like I mentioned earlier. Glitter paste is finicky. A lot of you will know immediately what I'm talking about. It likes to just dry out. It's just the nature of the product. If you expect your glitter paste to last forever, even if you've never opened it, no. You might luck out. Sometimes it's amazing. You'll find a container that's been sealed for literal years, and it's like, wow, it's still good. That is not the norm. Out of all the pastes out there, and now we have like a bajillion different types, which is super fun. But of all the pastes out there, glitter paste especially, there's just something about it that it does dry out a lot quicker. You do not need 50 containers of glitter paste. And again, this is the person doing this voiceover is the person who must have all the things in all the colors. Seriously though, glitter paste it does not have an, shelf life of, like an infinite shelf life. That was the word I was looking for. So that said, if your glitter paste is hard as a rock, like you open the container and it is hard as a rock, like clunking hard, it is done for. You cannot revive it. Other paste, there's sometimes ways to make it work, but glitter paste, I have yet to ever hear of anyone who was able to revive it, because it like turns into cement, really. That said, this specific glitter paste, this is Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel. That's the bigger container in iridescent. It's beautiful. This container of mine is old, very old, literally 2+ possibly 3 years old. I forget when I bought it. It was a really long time ago. I've shown this in other videos. I do use press and seal. That's another thing. I say this a lot. Sealing up your paste, especially glitter paste, with press and seal before putting the lid on does help. Pressing the press and seal right down into the product before sealing it up also helps remove as much air as possible from the container. But yeah, this is just an insanely old jar, and it is like pretty much at the end of its life. However, it's not completely dried out. It's just really thick and not spreadable. Like I can't really apply it as is over a stencil, because it's almost done. But what has been working for me is I mix it with this is Picket Fence Studios Paper Glitz, the Sparkle Paper Glitz. And again, I've shown this in a bunch of videos. I mix them together. So I stir up the Paper Glitz to get the shimmer. So I basically get like extra shimmer. And Paper Glitz formula is very, very thin. It's very liquidy. And it's got its own uses. I've already done a video on it. I'll have more videos coming in the future. I need more hours in a day. But this is my little chemistry formula. And it just works. So I just mix them together. So the very thin formula of the Paper Glitz helps kind of revive my pretty iridescent glitz glitter gel, and it makes it work. And that's just fabulous. There's another product that I will get to in a second here, but I just did my little mixing. I mixed up way more than I needed, but that was so I could show you guys what I was doing. But again, there'll be more in a second. But I mixed it all up, put my paper back in my little stencil mat here, and then just this first stencil. And I'm applying the glitter paste over it. Just again, light hand, especially again to that center of the A. Just a nice light hand with this. So it's going to look a little more opaque at first, but as this dries, it kind of absorbs a little bit of the ink, plus these specific pastes dry pretty transparent with just the shimmer. So in the end, I'm going to be left with just really pretty shimmery, sparkly letters, and it's just going to make me happy. So I applied this to both backgrounds that I'd done. And again, with glitter paste, you want to clean everything as soon as you're done. Because it does. It dries like cement. It will dry like cement on your stencils. It will dry like cement on your palette knife. I've had people argue with me over this. This is why I kind of just try to hammer the point home. It's just easier. If you've managed to use ridiculous amounts of products and soaking and all these steps to like get it off your stencil so you don't need to clean it immediately, great. If you want to take 10 times more time, effort, and product to do it, you do you. It works. I just find it's way easier to just take it to the sink and clean it. So we're good. Anyway. So after I'm done, I put the product back in the container here. Just like so. I'm going to wash my stencil, my palette knife, and my little palette there. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I wanted to show this is another product that works. I'm speaking from personal experience. I don't know, like manufacturers probably don't recommend it, the brands that make the different pastes. So this is just my anecdotal thing. Distress Refresher Spray. This is made by Ranger. It's meant to extend the life of your distress products. It's for use with distress ink, markers, and paint. That's literally what it says on the container. I find it also works with paste. So I spray a bit in there, stir it up, spray a little bit more, then I'm going to seal this up. Also, sometimes it can work to add a bit of distilled water. I kind of always look at it as if I find, I'm going through my stash and I find a paste that's like past its expiration date, like it is just not even sure it's going to work. Like it's almost dried out. If it's fully dried out, it's done for in my opinion. However, if it's really close to that, like it's knocking on death's door, I'll play with it. I'll add other products to it. I'll do things like this, add some sprays, add some distilled water, whatever, because mentally I've written it off. Like it's done for. And if it works, great. If not, well, I tried. So all my little experiments on this paste over the last, I'm not even sure when I started doing this. It's been months and it's been several videos. It's been working. I have been just keeping this little container of, glitz glitter gel going for a while without a ridiculous amount of effort either. Because like I said, I'm not going to put in unbelievable time and effort and everything when it's like you can buy a new container for, it's like $7 or $8. Like it's not expensive. So, and I actually have a brand new container of this, but this stuff's still working with very little effort. So I pressed that press and seal down to remove like all the air, sealed her up. We'll see how much longer I get out of it, and then wash my stencils, all the things. So we're good. I let this dry and now you can see it's all shimmery and pretty and fabulous. So there was a little stamp set, just a little mini stamp set and die set that Kathy Zielski released with this stencil set. I don't have it. I thought I did, but I don't. So instead, I pulled out this little balloon assortment wafer die that came out in the same release. And rather than go through all my cardstock, I just made my own. I just used scraps of the white cardstock I had cut down to do the card fronts and card insides. And I just applied the ink directly to the cardstock with my ink pads. Another thing I will note, when working with specifically these type of ink pads, like these Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks, Concord 9th are the same type of ink pad, these very soft like foam ink pads, be careful with them. Not careful, just be gentle with them when doing direct to paper. Like I am not reefing on these. These are not the regular, like your distress ink pads that have like the felt and the linen coating and they're pretty hefty, you know what I mean? Those you can just put them through their paces because that's just the type of product. These ink pads are very soft. That's what gives them the intense saturation and the stampability, etc., etc. So when I do things where I'm like pressing my ink pads into my work surface or I'm going direct to paper, I'm not reefing on them, if that makes sense. Good. Hopefully. Anywho, after I did all my direct to paper with the inking, I let them dry and they smoothed out as they dry, like the Positively Saturated inks do, which just makes me happy. And then I die cut them with that balloon die, put them in the little triangle trays, set them aside. I die cut my stencil backgrounds with a rectangle wafer die. And then I had 2 more pieces of white cardstock that is cut slightly smaller than what my A2 card base will be. And I stamped a sentiment from the Birthday Shenanigans stamp set. This one's got a bunch of like really good, like some of them are kind of snarky, just a whole bunch of birthday related sentiments in here. And I went with the more just kind of simple one because I was like, ooh, these would make good like kids birthday cards too. So yeah, I didn't put the one that's like make a wish then blow out that bonfire. So yeah, but there's some good sentiments in there. Anyway, another tip, foam tape. The back of those panels, this is Studio Cadia foam tape. I love this stuff. It is insanely sticky, like super, super, super sticky, which I actually love because then it means nothing's falling apart on these. But when working with really sticky foam tapes, because I've come across many over the years, first rule of thumb, good pair of non-stick scissors. The Tim Holtz scissors that I've used many, many times over the years, the black handled ones with the Teflon coating, those are fabulous. The other ones that are newer are the Simon Says Stamp. I think they call them the Positively Everything scissors. Something. I'll have a link to them. These are amazing. Like, nothing sticks to them. I have yet, and I have been cutting a lot of crazy things with them. Anyway, So that was the other thing. And then you saw me on screen there when dealing with very sticky foam tapes. I either use my die pick like I showed here, or I use like my little detail scissors, and I work that under the edge of the release paper to pull it up, because very sticky foam tapes, sometimes it can be just a nightmare trying to remove the release paper. So a die pick, edge of scissors, just makes a million times difference. So I popped up the card fronts with the foam tape. I adhered the sentiments to the inside. And then this was the real fiddly bit that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. This isn't difficult. It's just a little bit fiddly, because I couldn't have the balloons on the front of these cards without having balloon strings. I couldn't do it. It was bugging me. So I grabbed metallic thread from my stash, wrapped it around these. Basically what I did was I taped the end to the back of the balloon with just a little bit of washi tape. And then I wrapped it around the knot of the balloon. And then I kind of just worked it up the back and down again. All held in place with a washi tape because no one's going to see it. And then all my balloons are going to have little metallic thread tails. So you could always skip this. It's, like I said, it's a little bit fiddly. I didn't mind it, because once it's like, okay, I've figured it out. I do one balloon. It's like, I figure out my little system. It's like, oh, tape the thread, wrap around 3 or 4 times, just like so, pull it up the back, tape it again to hold it in place, and then pull the thread down so it comes along the bottom. One more little piece of washi tape, done. And then I just repeat the process. And this is always where I zone out to like a YouTube video or Netflix, like whatever I've got going on. And I just do it over and over again. And that's what I did. So once all my little balloons have their little metallic thread bits, I popped these all into place on the card with just some little thin foam squares. And some of the balloons, I kind of trapped the threads beneath the next balloon just to kind of hold them in place. And a couple of them, I just leave them as is. Like, they're just floating there. This thread is so fine that it's not, super distracting, etc. And it just gave it a little extra something, in my opinion. But like I said, you could totally skip this, or you could just stick the balloons in place in another option, because I thought about it and decided not to, because I wanted the sentiment and the glitter on the sentiment to take, center stage, obviously. But pop the balloons into place, and you could paint them with aqua shimmer pens or die cut them from glitter cardstock. Trust me, you guys, I had so many ideas. And this is what I settled on. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully my very specific yet random tips on pastes and foam tapes came across. And like always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post. In the blog post, there's always picture links to all the supplies, the pictures of the cards, etc. A little easier to navigate. That'll be linked directly below. And I'll also have the supply list and all the links directly below in the description box, along with the links to my social media, etc. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping and commenting. Subscribe if you haven't. I'd love to have you. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.